Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Kirsty and this is Stuck in the Mud. Thanks everyone for subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate all of your support, and as always remember to like the videos if you're finding my content helpful for you. So in today's video I really want to talk about those pivotal moments in my own recovery journey from OCD and anxiety. You know, the ones that really helped me move forward and actually address my OCD symptoms and, you know, how I'm going to move forward with my life. And one of those things that really helped me, and I think it can be useful for people struggling out there, is to actually see OCD as separate from yourself. Because OCD doesn't define who you are, you know, it doesn't define our moral beliefs, our values, you know, what we stand for. But we doubt that because OCD is plain and simple, you know, it's a doubting disorder, and we really can't tolerate that uncertainty around the fact that we're experiencing these events in the mind of, you know, why am I thinking this? You know, what does this say about me? You know, what's wrong with me? We are so inquisitive. We want to find out why this is happening to us, and we can't understand, if we're thinking such a thing, how that can't be a reflection of our true character. And we really can give ourselves space this way if we can approach our intrusive thoughts, the images that we get, the feelings, the urges, the sensations we feel in the body, if we can separate ourselves from that and see it kind of as outside of us, you know, it's not who we are at our core. You know, this is just an event in the mind. Our mind generates all these thoughts and images, but that doesn't say who you are as a person. You know, we can experience many different thoughts a day, but that doesn't mean that that is your true identity. And I think earlier on in my healing journey, this really helped me, and it took away that stigma that we feel around OCD when we think, what on earth is going on? You know, what does this really say about me? You know, you can be in such a state of desperation because we can't understand what's happening to us. It's a really frightening time, especially if you don't fully understand OCD and anxiety. You know, you're like, what on earth is going on? And we can't really figure it out. You know, we're just questioning everything, which just fuels so much more doubt, and we end up like in the thick of it. You know, we're just going round and round that OCD washing machine cycle, just going on forever. It just doesn't quit, does it? You know, we just can't seem to break out of that cycle. But it really did help me to give me some space. So when I'm experiencing an intrusive thought back in the day, I'd be thinking, right, okay, I know what you are. You are an unwanted intrusive thought. You know, this is not something that I am enjoying. It's given me a lot of despair. You know, this is not something that is pleasant for us. It really isn't. And I can see that as a separate entity to myself. You know, this isn't me. This isn't who I am as a person. And that really did give me that space to kind of go, okay, I know what's happening here. I know what I'm experiencing, but I don't need to involve myself in it. I can just let that coexist, let that be there. And it's difficult. It really is. And especially in my earlier days, you know, I've experienced OCD and anxiety for 40 years of my life. And back in the day, I just couldn't help it. That urgency to figure everything out is so strong. And you really think, like, how am I going to deal with this? Because you just feel like you're just getting pulled back in all the time. It's just constantly trying to hook you in. And you really can't see an end to it. And it's a really scary, frightening thing to go through. But when I realised, you know, these are unwanted, intrusive thoughts, you know, feeling those urge to carry out those compulsions, whether that be physical or rumination, through mental rumination. Whatever it was, whatever that pull was, I could go, okay, I know what's happening here. And just having that space and think, this is not who I am. This is OCD's like that bully, that monster, like a separate entity. Some people even find it helpful to name their OCD. It's not something I've ever done. I've never felt the need to do that, but if it's helpful for you, it's definitely worthwhile. I've just often seen it as a bully. It's just there and it wants to kind of infiltrate my life and make my life limited and smaller and just really, keep me stuck. And, this is not a nice place to be. It's nowhere that we want to be, and we shouldn't be. We should be living our life to the full. So seeing that separation from your OCD is really helpful. This is not who you are as a person. Just because you experience these thoughts, these really unpleasant thoughts and distressing, they can be quite violent in nature, sexual in nature. They can really, really scare you because you're like, well, hey, what's happening? What does this mean? What is this saying about me? I must be this terrible person because I'm thinking this. But our mind generates many thoughts a day. They don't all represent who we are as a person. Just because we're experiencing an event in the mind, we don't have to see that as our true identity. And having that separation from our OCD is really helpful, especially in those beginning stages of recovery, because we can see it for what it is. It's just that bully, that monster just trying to pull us in, and we don't have to get so caught up and wrapped up in it. We can see it for what it is. Let it be there. Don't feel that need to answer every question that OCD will throw up in your mind. And I know it's hard because it can feel quite relentless at times. And I get that. It can be very, it's one after the other. Intrusive thought after intrusive thought, image after image. It can be like that train just coming in all the time, the OCD train. And we don't have to hop on board that train, and that's the beautiful thing. We can see that OCD train pull up at the station, and we don't have to board it. We can let it go by. So just remember that's a really good way to think of it, is just not boarding that OCD train. Let it pass by. And you will notice the more we do that, and it will feel repetitive at first because we have to do that because we're changing our behaviour. And changing behaviour is not a quick fix. It takes time, especially when you've been doing this kind of safety-seeking behaviour for a long time. Not doing that compulsion, not feeling, that urge to carry something out, whether that be rechecking something or, just counting something or doing that compulsion that we're pulled to do. We're not doing what it wants, and it's going to have a bit of something to say about that OCD. It's going to be like, no, okay, why are you not paying me any attention? And it's going to have that temper tantrum like toddlers do. It's going to be like, what is happening here? But we don't need to give in to it. And that takes some courage and a big leap of faith. I get it. It's not a thing that you can do so easily at first. But every time we get these intrusive thoughts, these images, these urges to do a compulsion, it's another opportunity to practice what we know, that, this is OCD. It's not who we are. It's separate from us. So remember, you can see OCD as separate from yourself. Your intrusive thoughts, those images, those feelings, those urges, those sensations in the body, they don't define who you are. They're not your true character. And if we can have that mental separation and see it like a separate entity, a voice in your head, that we don't have to believe everything that the mind says, and we don't have to act upon it. But we also accept that these thoughts aren't true and they aren't a reflection of our true character. So please let me know what you thought about today's video. Is this something you think you can do? See OCD as separate from yourself? Maybe you're doing it already. So let me know how you're getting on, and I will see you in the next video.